Uh-oh.
I'm gonna walk around with half a bloody disaster. It's run out of battery. Now I'm stuck. Look. What am I going to do? I'm going to walk around with half a bloody disaster. What the hell is this? Is this a new style? What the hell? And I have to go back home in a few days' time. So for a few days I'm gonna have to be walking around like this. I'm gonna have to cut this off or something. I don't know. Hi guys, I'm back. There was one guy, I think one person was saying, 6 months ago you looked a lot younger. You look really ill. Because I had a massive beard. Well, I've found the elixir of life, an electric shaver. Now I look 20 years younger. You can have an electric shaver too, and it'll make you look even younger. I've got my spring hat and spring look. It's still not spring. Still quite cold. Gloomy day. Again. Here in actually I'm near the North Sea. We're near the North Sea here, just on the edge. So to the east of Norwich, well, northeast of Norwich, quite a bit away actually. And that's why it's colder here. You get the cold air of the sea air of the North Sea. It's quite cold, bitter. So I suppose it's only warm in the summertime. Hang on, I'll speak to you when I stop driving, because this thing is wonky. I'll speak to you in a bit. Okay, I'm back, as I said before. Now, my plans for the for spring, when it finally arrives, is, as I said before, talk about more positive things, just to imitate nature. In the wintertime, everything slows down and is quite dark. And then in the springtime, everything brightens up, sap rises, yang energy increases. And it's the daytime of the year. It's the morning of the year. Morning, and then you have the afternoon, and then you have, afternoon is probably summertime, and then you have the evening, which is autumn, and you have a nighttime, which is winter. And so my point is, I try to imitate. I think my body imitates nature very well, because in the winter time I was completely black, just like the weather, just like the season. Kind of, if I could hibernate, I would just shut myself off from everything. But because you have to stay awake, you have to still do things, you can't hibernate, and you still have things to do. I still have the dogs to look after. I have to make some videos for the channel, and most of the videos would have been really negative, because it reflects my mind and my state of being. So sorry if the videos were negative. That's what I'm like in the winter. And when there's no sun, and it's although there's no sun now, the vibe is different, because we're moving towards spring. So there's some hope there. It's not only that, the temperatures have started to rise, and then you start to see some buds, something on the trees, on plants, and you know it's springtime is coming soon. So everything is on the up and up, as they say. So springtime is the happiest time for me. So I know some of you will be saying, well, it's springtime for everyone. Is a happy time and a happy period. Everything's rising. Why is it just for you? I never said it was just for me. But as I've explained before, if in the period, I don't know, the body, the brain seeks harmony or wants to stabilize, right? Homeostasis, it's called, I think. And so if the norm is this, you know, happy, sad, depression, you know, if I'm like this during the winter because there's no sun, then the brain overcompensates. So you don't just go to normal levels. You go slightly over for a while and then come down. So my brain, my whatever, neurochemicals or whatever, they overcompensate. So I do feel happier than other people. That's why I'm so happy in the springtime. Well, I'm going to go to the shop now, and these dogs are going to keep barking because lots of dogs keep going by. And I'll speak to you in a bit. Back in the car, and I got a few goodies. Yeah, so I was just thinking about springtime and what I can talk about. What do you guys want me to talk about? I'm not going to leave it up to you. I'm just asking to get some feedback. And I probably won't take any of your advice anyway. I was thinking I can talk about the things that I'm interested in. And so, you know, what am I interested in, or what have I been interested in the past? Now, you know, when you're trying to find out your purpose in life, your life purpose or purpose in life or whatever, your passion in life, they say just go back into your life and see things that you used to like, you know, the things that you're good at. You know, what did you like doing? Did you like painting? Did you like working with machines, with animals, with people? What were you naturally good at, or are you naturally good at? What kind of calls you? You know, what kind of pulls you? And when I was a kid, that's what the questions my dad would ask me. He would say, well, son, what do you want to do? Your cousin is a mechanic. Your other cousin, he's a carpenter. What about your trade? You have to have a trade. Arte kind of sounds like art, but arte means trade in Italian, Sicilian. So I said, bah, I don't know. I don't know what I want to do. I like art. I mean, I like painting and drawing. I was really good at that at school, but I don't want to do that. Well, I didn't want to do that as a profession. I think because there was one artist on our road, and I really looked up to him. He lived on the corner of the road, and I asked him once. My dad was there with me as he walked past, and I said, "Papa, let's ask him, you know, because he might know something about, you know, how to be an artist, how to get a job." And what he said to me kind of crushed my dreams of being an artist. He said, "No, son, the only artists that make money are the dead ones." And that kind of crushed my dreams. I thought, you know, I was quite sensitive. That little seedling was starting to grow, and then he crushed it. So, with the help of my mind, of course, my negative mind. So, yeah, so that's what happened. From that time on, I looked into, you know, studying art, and then I realized you have to study the history of art, which I wasn't interested in at all. I would go to galleries, you know, the gallery in London near Trafalgar Square. I can't remember the name, but it's an art gallery. Went to a few, and I found them so bloody boring. I found them so absolutely boring, and I felt sleepy just looking at these paintings. Yeah, they were lovely, they were fantastic, but it's so boring. So, and then I thought, if I had to do that as a job, paint, or do drawings, and then have the stress of having to do this thing that I like, but have a deadline, I wouldn't be able to do it. You do, I think, art for art's sake, not for money. And when there's money involved, you might not do it the way they like it. You're not free. It's not a free expression of who you are, or what you're trying to do. So I thought I couldn't do it as a job. I couldn't express myself properly. I'd be under pressure, and it takes away the art. In my opinion, I thought there's no art there. There's a product. So that kind of destroyed my dream. But in the past, there's also another question. Like, people say, "Oh, if you couldn't fail, what would you want to be, do, or achieve?" So, if, for example, there are no constraints of age, education, money, energy, whatever, what would you do? Because some person might say, "Oh, I would like to do this, but I don't have any money," or "I would like to do this, but I'm too young. I would like to do this, but I don't know about it. I don't have any experience or education in that area. I haven't learned how to do this." So the question deals with that. If you had everything that you needed, what would you do? What would you like to do? And that kind of will reveal your purpose. What you really want to do. So years ago, I thought of that question, and I thought, yeah, I'd love to live in the mountains somewhere and meditate and have a harem or concubine. Yeah, well, I mean, the question is like, if you couldn't fail, what would you do? Yeah, so I thought, yeah, I'd love to live in a beautiful location with a harem of beautiful women, and healthy, and a warm place. Yeah, and meditate. What would a man want? Of course, that was my. But what if that's your purpose in life? That's not a purpose. That's lust. No, it wouldn't be lust. These Muslim guys, they're allowed 4 women. Could you imagine, like, more than one wife? Imagine the nagging and the kind of stress that you'd have. It'll be nice initially. Oh, nice, like 4 women, 5 women, 10 women. Oh, great. Yeah, but could you imagine how drained you would be as well if you had to, if you had to sleep with these ladies and become intimate? Bloody hell, you'd be dead within a year. Drained. No, that's not good. So, that's, it's just a fantasy. So I just got rid of that quickly. So what else would I like to do? Well, when I asked myself this question when I was in my 20s, late 20s or 30s, I still thought, I'd love to live in a mountain with 2 dogs in the countryside, in a warm area. And I drew this a few times, a little house in the countryside, and I had 2 German Shepherds. Fast forward 20 years or whatever, and I live in the countryside, but I've got 5, I did have 2 German Shepherds. So I reached my goal, but it's not warm, and it's bloody stressful having so many German Shepherds. So sometimes, we're not really good at, how do you say, preempting? No, not preempting, but we're not good at fortune telling. We're not good at seeing the future. We see a future with, if I had this, then I'd be happy. But actually, we're not good at doing that. We're not good at predicting our own happiness, So when we set goals, at the time, oh, I'd love this situation to happen. I'd love to be married. I'd love this and that. But then if you do get to that goal, then you might be happy for a short period of time, and then, that's it. So, well, that's another discussion about goal setting and happiness. A lot of people, when they reach their goal, they're not really happy, because maybe the happiness was in pursuit of the goal, but then once you reach the goal, You get that red Ferrari or whatever you've always wanted all your life, and then after 6 months, that hedonic adaptation kicks in, and then you adapt, and it becomes boring. So if you wanted the most beautiful woman in the world, your brain would adapt, or the most handsome man, you would adapt. You would not. Well, I think most people would get bored. The process of being happy, the way you're happy, or the way you find happiness, is in the moment all the time. It's not in some future destination. If you had, I don't know, if you had £1 million, yeah, you would feel happy because it would give you choices, and so you would be more comfortable. Definitely, you'd be more comfortable and more at ease, I suppose, in certain areas. But I don't know. But going back to my purpose in life, so I was interested in a few things. Like when I was growing up in martial arts, in my 20s to 30s, all kids, boys especially, interested in Bruce Lee and Kung Fu and self-defense, martial arts, things like that, because maybe they're bullied at school, or they see a film, Karate Kid, or those I used to watch those Chinese Hong Kong movies. I used to love, and I still love those movies. Like any excuse for a fight. You said something wrong to my daughter, you bastard. And they start. Yeah, those are great, those films. It's stupid, but funny. I'm just thinking, when I was a child, what did I used to like? I used to playing with plasticine, which is a Play-Doh, kind of Play-Doh. Yeah, I just used to like drawing. What does a child do? I used to like playing with Airfix kits. They're like plastic kits where they've got numbers on them, and you stick them together with glue and you paint them. The kits are usually aeroplanes. Sometimes you get tanks. Sometimes you get even a dinosaur, and ships, things like that. But if I try doing them now, I feel so nervous, so I wouldn't be able to do it. So the things that I used to like as a kid, I don't think I'd like to do now. But I was trying to see if there was a thread that goes through all these things that I liked, all the pastimes and things like that. I like playing with the Rubik's Cube. I was really good at that. I liked cycling. I've always liked watching football, Match of the Day. I love Match of the Day since I was a kid. So in my 20s and 30s, I started to get interested in Kung Fu, martial arts, Taoism, and the philosophy, Taoist philosophy, a little bit of Zen, Buddhism, a little bit. And then in my 30s and 40s, I don't know, interested more in trying to make money. I don't know, if I was interested in survival and things like bushcraft. And so, and then interested in health and immortality, life extension, nutrition, cancer, diabetes, how to avoid all of the diseases, via diet, lifestyle factors. So if I think of the thread that goes through all of these things, I think it's to do with survival or self-protection, because nutrition and all the biohacking that biohacking theme, where you're trying to make yourself as healthy as possible to avoid disease. Self-defense, you're trying to avoid an opponent, an attacker or something, so it's all to do with self kind of protection or survival. Bushcraft is protect yourself against the elements, protect yourself, survive in the elements. I even like things like prepping, surviving if there's a war or something like that. So, I don't know, that's the kind of thread that goes through the pastimes or the things that I really liked. But not when I was a child. When I was a child, I just liked playing with plasticine. I was more creative. Drawing, painting, Rubik's Cube. So, I don't know. I still, my dad asked me this question years ago, and I still don't know. If I had to put it into a job, which job would I like to do? The job doesn't exist. There is no job that exists. And the thing is, because of the ADHD problem that I seem to have, obviously have, I haven't been able to go and work and keep a job down or even attend an interview because I'm always late or miss it. And which kind of boss wants a person like that? They're not gonna, unless there's a job where you can go in anytime you want, and maybe for a few days you don't actually even go in, do your work, and you might even forget certain details about the work. It's impossible. Which boss is gonna accept someone like that? I mean, even a cleaner, someone who cleans the floor or something, you're going to have to go in and do your job and clean it perfectly or as well as possible. I wouldn't even be able to do that. I might be washing, cleaning, and then forget what I'm supposed to do and just go off. You'd have to have someone with you here, like I said, a robot or whatever, somebody with you to tell you what to do. And that would be stressful. Imagine you're doing something, there's someone here telling you and reminding you. That it's just stressful thinking about that. So I was thinking I have to do my own business. So YouTube, I was thinking that can be my business. And yeah, there was somebody saying, why don't you put me in it? You can't be claiming benefit. You should tell the authorities. And he was basically telling other people to tell the authorities that I'm claiming benefit and on YouTube making money, loads of money. First of all, I'm not making loads of money. Secondly, I was on, what's it called? Is it working tax thing? My wife did it, working tax benefit, which means I'm not on the, on a benefit where I can't work. I can work, but I can only earn a minimum wage because I only earn a minimum wage. So I'm not earning enough to pay tax. So there you go. The person who wanted to put me in it. Put yourself in it. And then asking other people to do the same thing. Like mob rule, People should contact the authorities and tell them that he's claiming. Claiming what? Working tax credit, I think it's called, where you're allowed to earn a certain amount every month. I'm not even earning that. So I'm on a minimum wage. Even people on a minimum wage get more money than me. Fuck's sake. These people are so evil. You're online, these trolls. They think I'm making loads of money. Like the minimum wage is what, 10 or 11 quid? So if you're working, in McDonald's, right? You're working I don't know, 40 hours. So how much are you getting? 400 quid? Let's say 400 quid a week. That's 1,600, 1,800 pounds a month. When I make these videos, it takes a long time, say an hour to make a video and then an hour to edit and then say another half hour to upload and another hour to upload and put the title and everything. That's 3 hours, let's say, per video. I'll do two videos, say 2 videos a week, that's 6 hours. And during the week, maybe I'm thinking about, what I should do. And maybe I get 100 quid a month. My wages are terrible. If I did this as a job, I wouldn't be able to survive. So that's why I need a benefit just to help me, because I'm earning so little money. I wouldn't be able to survive at all. And I'm finding it hard to survive as it is. So then some Bert comes along and says, you should contact the social services or whatever it is. He's not allowed to be earning any money. I'm not earning any money, really. People get more than that on the dole, don't they? They get about £90 or whatever, £100 or whatever. I thought you said you get £100 a week. That's what I was getting, but because now my wife and myself are split up, I have to claim for myself the universal credit or whatever it's called. It's all universal credit now. So working tax credit. So anyway, it's a bit of a mess up, but I have to try and make it into a proper, a semi-proper business. I don't know how to do business, bookkeeping and things like that, and then go to the, I was going to say estate agent, go to the accountant, and then give them all my receipts and stuff like that. Well, I'm gonna have to learn anyway. So maybe having a YouTube channel can help me. But I'm thinking, what can I talk about? I can either talk about my day-to-day life, and that's what people want to hear. And to be honest, people want to hear either tranny stories or problems with my wife and divorce, loneliness. Those get lots of views. But if I talk about health, like that video where I had the granuloma, it's a lump here that didn't stop. It's a cyst, a blood cyst that didn't stop bleeding. And I looked everywhere online. There's no video that I've found to date that shows you how to heal it. None at all. So I thought, yeah, that would get lots of views. It's got about 500 views. Well, I'm giving people information that is not on YouTube. Still not on YouTube. I thought, well, I found some kind of elixir, some kind of potion where, and it really worked. 500 views. So when I talk about health, like diet and things like that, histamine intolerance, like the views are so low. But, when I talk about like problems, relationship stuff, you get higher views. But there's a problem with that. Instead of, if you go by what people want and the algorithm then reacts. The problem is that then you're making videos to make viewers happy, but making viewers happy might not make you happy. So for example, if I keep going on about relationship problems, mental health problems, and it's okay to do that for a while. I mean, I'm not doing it because I just chose mental health. It's because, or relationship stuff, it's because that's what's going on in my life at that moment. In that video, I talk about what I'm going through at that moment. So it's not as if I'm choosing these subjects. I'm talking about what's happening at the moment, and then I think about a title. So I'm doing it the other way around. Usually you're supposed to think about a title, a subject, and then proceed to create some kind of script. But what I do is the opposite. I talk about what's happening at the moment, and then I tend to ramble and go on about how I feel, and and then that's how the video is made. And then I think of a title. How can I title this? How can I put a title to these thoughts that I have? So I don't know. I think it's a good way, because at least I'm more authentic. Like to my viewers, I'm more. It's raw. It's the way it is. I find preparing things, a script, I don't know. It's kind of not fake, but it's you're then making a video for YouTube. Whereas this way, I'm talking to a friend or a few friends. No, I better not say a few friends, otherwise that will trigger my social phobia. I'll get all embarrassed and so I'm just talking to one person, and someone that understands me or whatever, and is open to listening to my stuff. A bit like a therapist, actually. No, a friend, not a therapist. A silent therapist, a silent friend, this camera. Yeah, so I don't know what I'm going to say, to be honest. Sometimes I know when I've had an argument or something, or if I'm not feeling well, or if I think of a great idea, then I know what I'm going to say. I have just the basics of a subject, and then I just run with it. I ramble, and certain things come out. But I'm not really that good at talking. I think there was someone who said talking and writing are two different things. Yeah, I agree. Person who is a writer might not be that good at talking. And I know that when I write, it's really different. It feels different. I think it stimulates another part of the brain. So I feel that my writing skill is much better than my talking. I can express myself more when I write. When I talk, I feel it's wrong, and I wouldn't say I'm a good writer. But there's different types of writing. You can write in a conversational style. So I can use this style and write this way. But I find it a lot more easier to write I find it a lot more easier to write than when I talk. Talking is an effort. Maybe because talking uses the more, like, the analytical part of the brain. Whereas writing, you use, the left or right side of the brain, a more artistic part of the brain, That's why I ramble, because if I had to speak in a structured way, that would be using the left side of my brain, and I'd have to. I don't do well with structure, so that's why when I talk, even though I'm using the left side of my brain, I'm also using the right side, and I'm rambling, and I'm going into areas that I didn't know I would go to. So I let the left side of the right side of the brain take over. That's how I make videos. I would find it difficult to use the left analytical side of the brain and use structure and structure things out, have a topic, a subject. So yeah, so at least you know how I make my videos, why I make my videos that way. I suppose I can try, and structure my videos and say, today I'm going to be talking about this, but I'm going to be, that right side of the brain is going to shut down, and the left side is going to be the only side of the brain that's working. I'm going to be going, today I'm talking about liver health, and because the whole right side is shut down, the left side my left side isn't that good, isn't my strong point. So with my right side, I can ramble on and give examples and kind of, and usually deviate from the actual subject and then go back into the subject. Oh, okay, this is what I meant. So, I don't know. That's why I ramble, because I find it difficult to do structure. What does that mean? Am I more of a left brain person or a right brain person? Oh, right. Left brain is analytical, or right brain is more artistic. Some people say, that theory was debunked. Well, I don't know if it's debunked or not, but you can actually, I do feel that it's difficult to do structure. You can learn how to do it. Okay, I'll try. I'm going to really try. But if I can't, it's going to have to be this way. So, the things that I'm interested, or I want to talk about, is self-defense. How to defend yourself. See, it's all about self-protection. So, for example, I would like to talk about positive things. So, if you're a man and going through a divorce, or if you're a woman and you're going through abuse, or, I just like to help people, save people. That's what I like to do. I should have been called Salvatore like my son. Salvatore means savior, or Jesus, that's what it means. Salvatore. But yeah, when I was a kid, I remember across the road, a Greek lady, they found a little kitten and it had just been squashed. The leg had been squashed, it broke its leg, and it was crying, meow, meow, meow. So I was maybe about 8 years old, and I was with my mum or my dad, and I said, I held their hand. I said, "Mummy, let's go across the road." So I went across the road. The Greek lady was saying, "Well, we don't know who it is," and I said, "It's mine. It's my cat." And they were all smiling, and they agreed just to give me the cat, because I was really sad. I wanted to look after it. I put it in a cardboard box, and it was going meow meow, and I was petting it, and in the morning it was dead, and I realized I couldn't do anything, but I wanted to save it, that little thing. There was another time in my 20s I think, when there was another similar thing. A pigeon was knocked over, and I called the RSPCA, and it was still alive. Then they said, it's better that you leave it, or something like that, because they said pigeons usually will die of shock. They won't move and they'll die of shock. I didn't know what to do. I think I left it in the bush. I was so, or maybe I took it home and it died. I can't remember. So that was another incident. But the lady, I'm kind of looking after her. I'm helping her with her diet, with meditation, with other lifestyle factors, and with chemo as well. I'm doing research into the chemo she's taking, and what kind of. I'm doing more bloody research than her doctor and her. Her doctor and her oncologist should liaise, and they're having arguments in between each other. Like, she was having problems with psychological problems or neurological. She went to bed and she felt like she wasn't going to wake up, or she didn't want to wake up. I said, you should tell your doctor. And so she went, when she told her doctor, she explained to her, it's like, I think these people don't realize. And I said, look, you're on a fluoxetine, which is Prozac, and maybe the drugs, the chemotherapy that you're taking could affect the there's an enzyme in the liver, the CY. It's an enzyme that helps you to in your liver metabolize, drugs. So chemotherapy can affect this enzyme, and you might need more or you might need less of the SSRI. So, so I said anyway, the chemotherapy could be affecting how the SSRI or the antidepressant could be working. It could be like affecting it negatively, and you might need more, of the antidepressant, or you might need less. And so you might be falling into depression or a state of anxiety because of the chemotherapy. And so, like, you would have thought that the oncologist and the doctor would liaise, would contact each other. Instead, they get angry with it. The doctor got angry with the oncologist because I think it was the oncologist's job to ask these questions. And maybe the oncologist didn't. Maybe the oncologist said, no, it's your job. It's like they're passing the buck. Whereas I'm doing research online and seeing how this drug could affect the brain via the liver. So, and, I also, the production of bone marrow can be reduced, red blood cells, white blood cells, iron, and then the various symptoms that you could have. So I like helping, and I like saving people from diseases and things like that. So there's always that idea of self-protection or other protection. So that's the thread that goes through my life, the things that I've really like to do, and that's why I was into martial arts, self-protection, helping this lady, protection of others, helping the pigeon, the cat. So if I do talk about my problems with histamine, then I won't get many views. If I talk about how to solve the problem, how I healed myself from a histamine intolerance, I probably won't get many views, because there are other, maybe better channels that can, they structure their videos in a certain way where it's those kind of how-to videos are how-to videos, and they have to be clear. Point number 1, go to sleep early. Point number 2, and they might have some study, some scientific study that suggests if you go to sleep early, then I don't know, this and this and this will happen. So it's those are more structured videos. But my types of videos are like rambling, conversational type videos that don't really lend themselves to certain subjects, maybe. I don't know. Or maybe I could do it. Maybe I can ramble on about my healing, how I healed histamine intolerance. But people, I think, usually who want to find out how to heal themselves, they don't want to find out via a conversation. They want to, as I said, find out via, the bullet points, a structured kind of how-to video. They quickly want to find out and then leave and go and fix themselves. So, yeah, the things I'd like to talk about are my own healing, because I have to I need to heal from various problems. And so that's what I can talk about. But I still like self-defense. There are various things that you see online, on YouTube, various stories. One person getting stabbed, another person getting abused. And I'd like to help other people. Did you see that? What was that? I'd like to help other people defend themselves. If I'm not there to defend them, I'd like to, be there, by way of this training. And they might not be able to defend themselves, but at least they have a chance. Are there any specific things? I mean, there's stories about one boy. He was 15 years old. He was stabbed. He was killed by another boy. And so I think the video was about that, but it was about, I think it's kind of right wing kind of channel where, like, complaining about immigration. And I think the boy who did the stabbing, apparently, I don't know, apparently was an Albanian boy, and so like maybe illegal immigrant or refugee or whatever. And so the vibe was, why do we let these people into the country? People who come from countries that have a knife culture or have don't have the same way of thinking that we have. They're not as civilized, I suppose. Civilized may be the wrong word, but yeah, that's the vibe anyway. So yeah, it's really interesting. I'm interested in that, but I'm more interested in finding out the crime report and seeing how the boy was stabbed. So you can then teach kids, what to be aware of. If it's an ambush from behind, well, it's really difficult, but, try not to have arguments with, other guys. And how can you defend yourself? If you're stabbed in the back and you're ambushed, that's really hard. But I suppose awareness is the first lesson, being aware of your surroundings. You should have a sixth sense that there's someone behind you. But, going to school from one class to another, there's lots of noises, and you're a child, you're not going to expect that, But some people, like those Albanian kids, maybe are more street smart, and then if he got pissed off with what this English boy said, then maybe, I don't know, don't quote me, but maybe in their culture, some people, maybe not all Albanians, of course, but some people, they fight with not words, but with weapons, maybe. And it ended this boy's life. So who's to blame? Is the government to blame to let in this boy and his family, from Albania or wherever they're from? I don't know. But my gripe, is it gripe the right word, with these channels is you go on about immigrants, go on, but there's no solution, there's no answer. The whole point of this is make people aware, of course, but it just makes people angry. Instead of making people angry, do both. If you want to tell the story, but then you should have people to, like, not fighters, but people who know how to defend themselves, or know how to teach kids, or how to teach women or men how to avoid the situation, how to save their lives. Not all the time can you save your life, but at least if there's some kind of vibe to go in that direction, to save lives, because they're going to be bad people everywhere. This guy, okay, he's an immigrant, apparently, I don't know, but that's what the video was about. So maybe it's wrong, maybe it was an English guy, I don't know. But yeah, it's really sad. A 15-year-old boy, imagine the parents. So I think all parents should send their kids to a self-defense class. Oh, that's what I can do. I can do videos. Yeah, I can sell courses actually on how to defend yourself from attack. And I saw one video on how to defend yourself, like if a person comes and punches you. It's got like 1.2 million views, and it was an English bloke. And I thought, I can do better than that. I can do better. I can do at least the same or better than that. And you don't have to be like this, like MMA, like really strong, muscular guy with zero neck, a thick neck. Cauliflower ears, like squash nose. You don't have to be like a seasoned fighter. And actually, it's actually a disadvantage, because if you're strong, you're muscular, if you're a cage fighter, you have so much confidence. And a small guy might come up to you and be street smart, have a weapon like a knife or something. You might think, oh, I'm going to beat the hell out of this guy. By the time you think that, you've got a knife into your throat or into your belly, and you're soon to be dead, because you didn't respect that little guy, the little guy with a knife. You didn't see his fingers. You saw one hand here, and the other hand was going backwards, going somewhere. And by the time you're how do you say, you're busy up here, boom, you're stabbed, in your belly or whatever. Like, that's what I didn't like when I was doing martial arts. Like, it was doing Wing Chun, and first you study the first form, then you study the second form, then the third form. That can take about 10 years. So within those few years, you learn how to do the chain center punches, all this kind of stuff. But if someone comes with you in a real situation with a knife, all that is out of the window. You can't trap any hands, you can't do anything like that. And I found that out myself when I got stabbed. All that training goes out the window. First of all, when you're stabbed, usually it's an ambush and you're not ready for it and you're playing catch up. So what you're doing is you're overwhelmed, and by the time you even think about anything, you've been stabbed 6 times, 7 times. You know, because when people stab you, usually they don't use any technique. They just it's like a piston, you know. Anyway, I'll talk about self-defense another day, or maybe make a series about self-defense. But that would give me satisfaction. And if I can teach kids, you know, women, the elderly, men, how to defend themselves in a real attack, then yeah, that would give me satisfaction. Actually gave me satisfaction. There was a girl who was living in our house like years ago. She was renting a room, 2 girls, for a few weeks, 2 Italians, and I showed her how to, like, if somebody grabs your hand, how to get out of it, you know, and you know you've got 4 fingers and a thumb. It's easier to get out of this than to get out of this. So when somebody grabs you, then you're not going to go this way. You're going to go move this way. You see, it's easier to move out this way than it is to move out that way. Sorry. You see, this way is difficult. This way should be easier. But you couple that with moving out this way, so it's easy to move. Anyway, I explained that to her, and she actually used it. There was a guy, like, it was either an alleyway in Soho, somewhere in the West End, and he grabbed her, and she did that, and she ran away, and I felt so great. I felt, you know, so proud of myself, and no, but really happy for her that she actually used that technique, and it enabled her to run away. I mean, some people could say, yeah, well, it was just lucky. The person didn't really want to hurt her, because he could have ran after her and pinned her to the ground and do whatever he wanted. But I felt so happy that she used that technique to run away. It was so good. Like, I'd helped someone without actually being there, and that gave me a lot of satisfaction. But you know, I have a negative mind. You know, when I wouldn't be able to teach people in a class because I had social phobia, social anxiety, and traditional martial arts, especially the Japanese ones, you have to do katas or routines in front of everyone. I wouldn't be able to do that. Yeah, so I had to find my own way. I realized that I am my own master. I traveled to the East looking for masters, looking for this, looking for that, and I realized they're just the same as us. They go to the toilet, they eat, they have lust, they have make mistakes, they've got their own bloody problems with their families. They're not something we or I put them on a pedestal, but they're nothing special. Of course they're special because they're human beings, and in fact there's a saying in Zen, if you meet something like this, if you meet the Buddha on the way, kill the Buddha, because you have to realize your own Buddha nature. You are Buddha, or you are the master. So if you meet the master on the way, you know, on your way in life or whatever, kill him, which means kill the idea that he is above you, and you know, you put him on this pedestal, or her. You are your own master. Then you think, what do you mean I'm my own master? I don't know anything. You do. It's just that you're like a piece of stone. You're the uncarved block, and you have to chisel whatever you want out of it, and then you'll find, you know, that beautiful masterpiece there. So that's what I'm going to leave you with. Yeah, so hopefully my videos will be more positive, and if I talk about problems, then I'm going to talk about how I'm overcoming these problems. Yeah, so there you go. I better go, otherwise these doggies want their food soon. I'm gonna have to go and feed them. It's not really spring yet, but that's what I'm waiting for. Okay, speak to you guys later. Love yourself, and each other. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.
Oh, I can't see